Hello there and welcome to another episode of Unleash Love. My name is Clément Young and I'm your host. And today I'm going to answer the following question. Why do I keep attracting toxic partners? Yeah, we've heard this before. I've seen it everywhere. I see it in the Facebook groups that I'm in. I see it in the Quora groups that I'm in. People are genuinely stymied as to why they keep getting the same quality partners over and over again. And, you know, the chances are that it's something to work on yourself with, because you're the common denominator. You're the thing that's turning up over and over again in these relationships. So logically speaking, maybe there's some work to do there. Try not to get yourself into the mindset where you're thinking one day Mr. or Miss Right is going to appear and they're going to change your world and they're going to roll the red carpet out. It's a dangerous concept, because if you are not even noticing these people in the first place and you're not even attracted to the right kind of person in the first place, they're never going to turn up, because you're always going to reject them or you're never going to notice them, right? And I've been down this road before. It doesn't end well, and it definitely doesn't end until you end it. You're the one who has to make a decision to change. You're the one who has to change things up. As human beings, you know, we are drawn to get validation from our parents, from our peers, from our colleagues. And if we don't feel like we're enough for whatever reason, we can start to build some very questionable connections between our self-worth and how to get self-worth. So we can end up pursuing toxic people in the hopes of getting that validation and closing that loop and getting closure on repeat over and over again. We can do that because now we understand that that's how we get our hit, our drug, which is the validation, right? So you can see it's a very psychological thing. It goes pretty deep. It goes back to childhood, perhaps. Maybe our parents neglected us, or they made us feel like we weren't good enough. And now we're using our partners to try to get that loop closed. But it's a behavior now, it's a pattern, it's an addiction. So what happened to me in my life was I had a string of relationships, toxic relationships, from my mid-20s to my mid-30s. I was unconsciously attracting the same kinds of people into my life. It was like they were becoming more toxic as time went on, because like any drug, the validation, right? My cravings got stronger, and so the toxicity of the person got intensified until my last relationship in this string was so toxic that, you know, I had been putting out fires left, right, and center, trying to deal with that and trying to manage that. And I was neglecting all the other elements of my life, like my relationships with my friends, my family. I had my professional life was going down the drain. And, you know, my personal and self-growth was just really awful. I wasn't growing at all. In fact, I was deteriorating. Everything in my life was deteriorating. And maybe you can relate to this. It's like, it's so much harder to be with them than to just be alone. Like if you were alone, instead of with these toxic people, you could have peace, you could have time for yourself, you could be focusing on other things. It's a situation that we get ourselves into, but luckily we can get ourselves out. And it all starts with understanding that there's two sides to a relationship coin. Okay, there's us and there's them. And when we meet people that aren't genuinely good matches for us, unless we are aware of what we want and what's good for us, we can get ourselves into a relationship with those people thinking that they're gonna eventually be what we want, or they're gonna eventually give us what we need. And that's our fault, right? That's not their fault. Yes, we can meet people who aren't good for us, but if we get into a relationship with them, that's our fault. So you can't blame other people, all right? You can't say, oh, there's no good men anymore, or there's no good women anymore. That's a lie. It's an illusion. It's a delusion. You're telling yourself that you've done nothing wrong, or you've got nothing to work on, and you're just out of luck. You're just simply out of luck that you're not meeting the right people. No, you're attracting the wrong people, and you're attracted to the wrong people, okay? Now, I think, you know, to really attract the right people, we got to do work on ourselves, right? So we got to start with figuring out where do we want to be and who do we want to be, and where are we now, And then what are the decisions and the behaviors that we've had in the past? And is that aligning? Is it all leading us to that point where we want to be and who we want to be? And if it doesn't, then we need to adjust something, don't we? Right? We need to work on ourselves. Human beings need to work on themselves all the time, every day. There's a big problem if you don't understand where you want to be in the first place. So I would say, look, this is what it looks like, the work. Understand yourself, number one. Understand yourself. Now, if you've got thick skin, right, meaning you're open to criticism and you don't react negatively when someone tells you that maybe you're falling short in certain areas, then yes, go look for it from your friends, from your colleagues, from your family. But if you don't have thick skin like me, then what you can do is you can take some personality tests. There's a number of them. I like the Big Five by Dr. Jordan Peterson's Big Five test. And he measures your personality based on certain criteria. And you can use that information. It's a very detailed report. And you can use that information to establish where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are. And you can work on that. And you can even compare your report to someone else. So you can have a potential partner, someone you're dating. They can fill out the report and you can compare them. You can get some advice on how to get along and build a relationship and whether it's going to be, probably fruitful or not. So that's the first place, is to understand yourself and be honest and be open-minded, because you have to know what kind of a person you are. And let me just say this to you. There's no great person. There's no evil person. Fundamentally, we're all great people. We have the same potential. We just have different traits. We have different balances of these traits, and that's what makes us unique. So don't feel like by making this personality test that you're going to be better or worse than someone else. It just means that your balance is different. You might be better at something and worse at something else than someone else, right? You can't compare yourself to someone else like that. It doesn't make sense. We're all different, all of us. So do that first. 2, decide the kind of person that you want to be. What does that look like? What kind of traits do you have? What kind of life do you have? I want to have a family. I want to be married. I want to have kids. I want to have 3 children. I want to have a boy and 2 girls. I don't know. Be very specific. Make a vision board. Just be creative and do an exercise. Draw the life out that you've always wanted. I want to have a big house. I want to have a car. I want to be able to travel everywhere I want to. I want to have businesses. Whatever. Just make it your own and then get clear on it and understand it so that you know in your mind that's where you want to be. Yeah? Clarity. Number 3, take an honest look at your past and the decisions that you've been making up until this point. Have they and are they leading you toward that place where you want to be? And if they're not, then accept that there's work that needs to be done there. And number 4, the last one, is create a step-by-step plan to move from where you are now to where you want to be. Now, a lot of this you can do yourself. If you're just honest with yourself, a lot of this plan can be mapped out by you, because they're just fundamental, I would say at times obvious things, right? But for other parts of this plan, you are going to benefit from seeking assistance. Maybe you need some kind of therapist, right? Maybe you need some kind of counselor. Maybe you need a coach. And we're talking about things like personal and professional. So getting a therapist to work with you on underlying issues and behaviors that are giving you the same results, these toxic relationships, these other things in your life are off that you want to work on, and they're all stemming from these underlying childhood issues or things that have happened to you earlier in your life and connections that you've made that aren't serving you anymore. You need to work with someone on uncovering those and really processing them so that you can let them go, and then your whole world changes. And then maybe you can get a business coach, and maybe you can I'm just saying, you need to create a step-by-step plan in order to get to where you want to be. And it isn't straightforward by any stretch of the imagination, but there's a lot of things you can do to start moving in that direction without getting help from other people. And it's just being open-minded and assessing really honestly what's been going on in your life, what kind of a person you are, and then making small changes to move or to adjust the track slightly so that you're moving in a little bit of a better direction. So I hope that this has helped, and I hope that you get value from it. And let me know if you need anything at all. If you've got any questions, reach out to us, leave a comment here, message us on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll help you as much as we can. And all we want is for you to have a healthier, better life, better quality of life, and to learn and grow. So I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Take care.